1 month later with the MSI Prestige 16, this ain't a gaming laptop, but you know that ain't gonna stop me from finding out whether it can actually game. Yes, what's good, people? It's man like Jamo. We out here with the MSI Prestige 16. Now, this was actually just a review unit from the guys at Intel, wanting me to check out their new Intel Core Ultra Gen 2 processors, and I specifically want to see whether their new Intel integrated GPU can bang out games, so that's what we're going to find out. But let's go in with the specs first of all. Right now, man will put the specs on the screen over here somewhere, but basically for processor, we've got the Intel Core Ultra 9 285H with 32 gigabytes of RAM running at 7,467 mega transfers. We've got a terabyte of SSD, Wi-Fi 7 on board. We've got the NPU thing for AI stuff, which I still don't see the point of. And for the integrated graphics, we've got that new Intel Arc 140T GPU, which we're going to push to its gaming limits today. Now, moving on to specs and I/O, I'm pretty much confused because on the left side of the device, there's actually nothing going on at all apart from some air vents and a Kensington lock. Now, on the right hand side of the device, at least we've got a 3.5mm combination headphone and microphone jack. We've got an SD card reader, which I always love to see, and at least we've got a full size Ethernet port. Now, moving on to the back, we've literally got HDMI 2.1, a USB-A 3.2 Gen 2, and 2 more Thunderbolt USB-C ports. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally can't believe that this whole 16-inch laptop only has one USB-A port, fam. So you're definitely going to need to have a dongle when you're messing with this guy. Now, obviously, standard procedure, we need to see whether the laptop can open with the one finger test. And yeah, it seems to be a good hinge. That seems to be a good hinge. Not mad at that performance there. Yeah, we're pretty much good to go. Now, moving on to the screen quality, we do have the OLED thing going. We do have a glossy finish. I know it's all about the OLED with the matte finish now so that there's less reflections, but I've always preferred OLED with a glossy finish because I just feel it makes the contrast a lot better. It makes the colors pop a lot more. We're looking at 2K resolution at 16:10 aspect ratio, so 2560 by 1600, and we're only looking at 60 hertz refresh rate. So yeah, no high refresh rate gaming going on here. And let's face it, this device is not meant for gaming anyway. Now, having a little zoom in on the keyboard, everything looks cool here. You got the little backlight functionality going on here. You got some more shortcuts going on at the top where the function keys are. The key presses feel about what you'd expect from a normal everyday keyboard, to be honest. Do love how massive the touchpad is. I think this is the biggest touchpad I've ever seen on a laptop. It's absolutely massive. It feels nice and responsive. Not mad at the combination of keyboard and touchpad that they got going on here. Now, say we gotta do the internet speed test over Wi-Fi, and I only get a gigabyte internet speed, so this is pretty much the maximum that my internet provider can give me over Wi-Fi. I am using a Wi-Fi 7 router, and we've got the Wi-Fi 7 chip on board, and they're both in the same room. So yeah, pretty much happy with the speed test, especially over Wi-Fi, fam. Like, this thing is not plugged in right now. It's just getting that speed, fam, wirelessly. Do you get it? Now, as I said, this thing is not meant for gaming. It's more of a productivity kind of laptop. But that ain't going to stop me gaming on it, though. So we're going to run some indies first of all. And to be honest, at this point, integrated graphics, especially these Intel Arc ones, have gotten so good that any indie game that is not super intensive on the GPU can be run on this thing. Full resolution with no issues. Obviously, I'm just giving you guys a little bit of gameplay of Caravan Sandwich in the background there. We did try to go over to Street Fighter. Street Fighter gave us 60 frames per second sometime, but I did get some dips down to 40 frames per second, which on normal games wouldn't really matter that much. But with Street Fighter and competitive competitive games like that, you need that 60 frames per second constantly in order to have an enjoyable experience. Otherwise, the game starts going into slow motion as soon as it dips even like an inch or a couple of frames under 60 frames per second. Now, going into some racing games, we've got Grid Autosport here. Grid is pretty much well optimized to run on anything you can throw at it, kind of thing. It runs very well on this Intel Arc GPU, so man was not mad at that at all. Definitely impressed with the racing game performance there, especially going around the track a couple of times and trying to load it up. Now, going into AAA games, I still feel this Intel Arc GPU has a couple tricks up its sleeve. If the game uses XES dynamic resolution rendering, you can get some ridiculous performance bumps by just simply turning that on without even having to mess around with the video settings. Same for frame generation. We've got a lot of tricks going on here to make it look like you're getting more frames than you are, but it just feels a bit fuzzy, even though it does feel fluid. With the dynamic resolution rendering and the frame generation, it kind of gives me the impression that I'm playing the game on another device in the cloud and I'm just streaming it, kind of thing. Feels like I'm not playing it locally on the device. I don't know how to describe it better, but it is definitely playable, which is the main question people are asking. You can get above your 30 frames per second there, so you're pretty much good to go for at least a little bit of light to delicate PC gaming. Now, gaming aside, it probably goes without saying that this thing is perfect for normal, everyday productivity tasks like checking your email, going onto Chrome, opening up a few web pages, especially with that greedy 32 gigabytes of RAM. You've got quite a bit of storage on there. Now, given the fact that it has an SD card reader, I just wanted to look into content creation and a little bit of video editing on this thing. Now, I don't actually use Microsoft Clipchamp, but chucking 4K 60 files into it was working smooth as butter, kind of thing. Like multiple 4K 60 files as well, like the one that you're watching. Didn't really have an issue with it, and I was quite surprised because we don't actually have a dedicated GPU here. It was definitely enough, or more than I would need, let's say, for getting any content creation done, fam. So definitely happy with the video editing performance as far as my skill set would need it. Just realized that I almost forgot to give you guys a little sound test so that you can hear how the speakers sound.
Well timed command throw there. Big count. Trips them up. Freeze them. Stop the attack by using the drive. Great work finding the opening.
Now, only things I haven't really mentioned is the bog standard web camera. It's 1080p 30 frames per second. It does have a privacy button at least, so you can shut it off when it's not in use. The microphone will get you to where you need to go in a Zoom call or maybe a Microsoft Teams call, but I wouldn't really use either the microphone or the built-in web camera for content creation if you really want good quality content. Also haven't mentioned battery life, which I'm not mad at. It's just that I've seen the offerings from Apple and I've seen the offerings from AMD and I've seen the offerings from Snapdragon, and Intel, even though it's doing much better than it used to be doing, still has a long way to go to reach the stupidly ridiculous levels of not having to bring your charger with you when going out and about with this laptop. So it is good. It's just there's a lot of competition right now. So Intel, yeah, you got to pull your pants up still. Anyway, people them, this laptop's alright, innit? Productivity things for web browsing, for doing stuff online, all them kind of things there, but also has a decent little bit of power to do a little bit of gaming, even AAA gaming, and a little piece of video editing and content creation as well, fam. So definitely usable, especially with that micro SD card reader. Don't know why all the ports are at the back. It just makes it awkward for you to plug USB peripherals in. Does keep it a little bit neater though, but I would rather those plugs and I/O around the side of the laptop. Anyway, That's what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Big shout out to Intel for borrowing me this, and I will catch you guys in the next one.